gun, at least one, and that it was dangerous occupation, and they were losing a lot of the people, as I knew, because they said, you are coming in because we can't get replacement gunners, and you held up your hand again and said, I do and I will. So I became a tail gunner on a B-17 because the crew that I wound up on had lost 2 tail gunners. Both of them were shot up and severely wounded, never flew again, and both of them were sent back to the States to recover. I met both of them after the war and was good friends to both of them. And they said, why in the world did you volunteer to be a tail gunner? And I said it was the only opportunity I had was to be a tail gunner. Okay, my first mission on December the 20th, we went to a place called Rumley, and I think I've told you about that before, so I'll tell you about my last mission. My last mission was on the 22nd day of June of 1943. And I had, as I said, volunteered to be a tail gunner. We went to a place called Hulls in Germany, and it was doing something that I can't recall what, but it was contributing to the German effort to fight the war. And we went to a place called Hulls. We were on our way there, and we were at about 20,000 feet, and one of the engines began to give trouble. And so what the pilot did was he feathered the engine, turned it off and feathered it, and continued in the formation. But a few minutes later, the second engine, both of them on the inside, began to give trouble. And he feathered that one. And he said, prepare to bail out. Well, I'm a stupid Irishman. And so I said, no way. And told him that, he could try to get home, which he did. After some discussion and having a few words with me. But he agreed to try to get back to home. And came down from about 20,000 feet. We came down, my notes say that we came down at 300 miles an hour. Now, a tail gunner can't see the speedometer or anything like that. And so as a consequence, I don't know, this is just what I was told subsequent to getting on the ground, that we came down at 300 miles an hour. And on the way down, we were attacked by only one plane, one German fighter. And I was the last person to get a chance to shoot at him, and I shot at him, and I was sure that I really raked him over, but good. But of course, in the excitement that goes on in combat, and if any of you have ever been in combat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In the excitement of combat, I lost track of that plane. And I don't know exactly what happened, but I was told that I shot it up pretty well, and then it went out of sight for me, and I don't know what happened to it, but no one on my crew got credit for that airplane, which I was told we probably shot down. But then the interesting part of the mission occurred. Here we are, we're at 18,000 feet or so. And life got to be very, very interesting because the pilot came down at about 300 miles an hour. And when we got down to about 100 feet, he leveled off. And he came between 2 islands off of the coast of Germany, Leland and Terschelling. And on each of these islands, there were a lot of aircraft, anti-aircraft batteries there. And so as we came down, they were shooting at us. When we came out between England and Terschelling, they were shooting at us like this. And that was a very, very interesting occurrence because, you know, they blew out the life raft on the right side of the airplane. It came out, draped over the right horizontal stabilizer. And when it draped over the right horizontal stabilizer, we're only flying about 110, 115 miles an hour, according to the pilot, his report. We were in real big trouble, and we kept going, however, and we shot up 3 flak boats that were down there. We shot them up real good. One of them we flew directly over, and I, being a tail gunner, when we flew over it, it was shooting at us, but luckily we were not hit by that particular anti-aircraft gun or guns. But as soon as we got over it, I leveled on it and shot it up really good, and it looked like it was sinking when we flew away. But our life raft blew out and draped over the tail, and that caused us trouble too. But over a period of time, the pilot was shaking it, trying to get it off. It did slip off, and when it slipped off, we were much better. We continued flying all back towards Europe at that particular time, back towards our base. And on our way back, we lost fuel. We were losing fuel, and we were also using fuel. And as a consequence, the weight of the airplane decreased, and our power remained the same. But as are any of you pilots? Okay, you know that the amount of weight that you're hauling around has something to do with it. As we lost weight, our speed increased very slowly, and we were able to increase altitude. So we increased altitude a bit, and we were able to fly directly back to our base. And when we got back to the base, we had been reported as missing. They thought we were goners, and we almost were. But we got back to the base, and at that particular time, my squadron in the 306 bomb group had a habit of taking people who had finished. They took them down to the pool and stripped you down to your shorts and threw you in. So that was my indoctrination to finishing up. And I got out, and of course, what happened after I got out of the pool, I dressed and cleaned up. No, I forgot something here. And when I got out, they then took and with spray cans of paint, they painted with a big 25, because this was mission number 25 that I had completed. They put a big 25 on my waist and one on my back, and then I had to go and get cleaned up. And what they did was they took aircraft fuel and rags and wiped all the paint off of me. 25 here and 25 in my back. They wiped them off clean. Of course, I had to go take a shower, and I changed clothes. And we had a taxi driver who would only drive for the 369th Squadron out of the 4 squadrons that were in my bomb group. And somebody had called him when I was reported as lost originally and said that I was lost. And then I personally called him and said, "Hey, I'm home." It's still dry because I came very close to getting killed that day, and I still feel very emotional about the things that had happened to me in the course of 25 missions, and especially what happened to me on my 25th mission. So he came, this taxi driver, Pop Fuller, came out and picked me up, took me to the telephone station, because at that time they didn't have home phones very much, and maybe none, I don't recall. But took me to the phone booth, and I called home and told them that I had completed my 25th mission and that I would be coming home soon. And then after that, he sat me on a table and he had a glass of whiskey about this high and said, "Drink." And he sat there and watched me while I drank it. And when I would have some of it and stop, he said, "I told you, damn it, to drink." And I did. And finally, I got it all down, and it made me a little bit drunk, not totally. I could still operate. And so, as I said, I then called home and told my folks that I had completed my 25th mission. And it's something that in a way, I am sorry I did, but I'm more glad that I did get on combat crew, because I proved something to myself, that I had the guts to do it. You know?